Cloud. So we're joined this afternoon here in Plymouth by Dave Simmonds, who is Associate Professor in Coastal Engineering in the School of Engineering, Computing and Mathematics in the Faculty of Science and Engineering, and also for the School Associate Head for Marketing and International Recruitment. So thanks, Dave, for joining us. Toby too. Toby is our Student Experience Officer here in UPIC, and Toby and I are going to take it in turns just to go through 10 questions in our usual format for these YouTube videos. So let's go. So Dave, could you please start by telling us a little bit about your background, how you came to choose Plymouth as a place to live and a place to work?
I started out at several other universities. So originally I studied a very different subject. I studied physics and natural sciences. So I actually started at Cambridge, moved to Bangor in North Wales, where I studied a master's degree I was particularly interested in, and then led on to doing a PhD where I studied at Bath. So I've sort of been gradually moving down to the southwest, and I've always enjoyed visiting the southwest. I think it's a sort of lovely place to work and live.
Great, thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks for answering that, Dave. Dave, could you tell me what are the 3 things you like best about Plymouth?
So what do I like about Plymouth? Well, Plymouth's quite a sort of open city. It's not sort of really high rise and packed in. We're near lots of lovely places like you see behind me, Dartmoor. We're also on a lovely part of the coast. And I find the people down here very friendly. And it's just an enjoyable, lovely part of the country to work in. And yet, it's if you look at other countries, we're not that far from the capital city. We're not too far from London, and yet we're down in the southwest where people choose to come on holiday. It's fantastic.
Great. And then thinking more specifically about the university, what are the 3 things that you like best about the university?
I suppose why I came to the university was because of the subject I was interested in. So I've always been interested in sort of marine and maritime subjects, and I think that's one of the strengths of Plymouth. We're a coastal city, and again, it's the friendliness, and it's the subject matter and the research, and also the facilities we've now got at Plymouth are fantastic for certainly my subject, and for other subjects as well.
What would you tell your younger self about being a successful undergraduate student?
What do I tell my younger self? So my younger self, I think it's interesting. I think my younger self, I tell my younger self, if I was going to succeed more, was just to take advantage of working with my fellow learners more. I think there's sort of a pressure to work in a silo, to work on your own and study on your own. But I think
collaboration, yes.
Yeah, collaboration, I think, is the thing. And people are friendly, and you do learn yourself. You grow yourself by working with others. And the subject I now study and teach, engineering, is definitely a teamwork subject. You have to work in teams to succeed. So having those communication skills and the confidence to put out your ideas and have them shot down or have them supported is really, really a useful thing.
Great, thanks. I mean, just coming back to location again. So, and also in relation to your recruitment role for the school, would you say Plymouth, both the city and the university, do they offer a welcoming environment for international students?
I hope they would. I mean, Plymouth's a very outward-looking city. It's a maritime city, so it's used to sending people out overseas, exploring, and it's also used to people coming into Plymouth from overseas. And I think the southwest, because we are less pressured by large populations, we're a lot more friendly down here. I think a lot more welcoming. And I know Plymouth generally, all cities have their pluses and minuses, but I think Plymouth is quite a safe city to live and study in. And again, as I say, we're near some fantastic natural scenery, natural beauty. So yeah, I think it is. I'd recommend it as a place to come and study.
Fantastic. And could you tell us about the facilities available at Plymouth, even to support the study of coastal engineering?
So my subject, coastal engineering, is obviously on the coast. It's sort of civil engineering on the coast. So the job is to protect people from flooding and to protect coastal erosion. So to do that, we are on the coast, so we understand the forces of nature that we have to deal with. And the facilities we now have at the University of Plymouth, I'm talking about our marine building and the coast laboratory. We have some fantastic, certainly nationally leading and possibly European leading facilities. We've got a large ocean basin which we use to study wave energy devices, and we also have very simple hydraulics experiments, so understanding about fluid flow, which is essential for civil engineering and coastal engineering. So very simple experiments that get you on the way to understanding about how fluids work. And then we also have some larger facilities, sort of wave channels, which our undergraduate students can use for their projects. And I think when you do a degree, one of the highlights of the degree is doing a project. And if you choose to do a sort of project in coastal engineering with us, we've got some amazing facilities that our students use for their project work, which I think is all adds to the experience and learning.
That's great.
Could you just build on that a little bit and explain to us a little bit more about the link between global warming and increased flood risk that comes with that?
Yes, so actually a lot of subjects are now building in sustainability into their teaching, or they have been over the previous years, but civil engineers have for many years had to consider sustainability. So sustainability is economic sustainability, social sustainability, but also the environmental aspects. So what civil engineers do, or coastal engineers do, is they shape the environment around people, and that can have a really detrimental or a really positive effect on how people live. And it's one of the most influencing things I think you can do, is shape someone's environment. Now, in terms of global warming, or prefer to call it climate change, the changing climate, how do we adapt to the changing climate? On the coast, we worry about increasing severity of storms, but also the increasing frequency of storms. And also from the land side, it's the increasing amount of water that's falling on the land that creates larger flood events. So whenever we build something, certainly in the UK, the policy is to look at least 100 years ahead and see, how's that going to change? How do we predict the forces of nature are going to change over that time? So a simple thing would be, in the southwest, we have a prediction of about 1 meter of sea level rise over the next 100 years. And that has to be incorporated into all our thinking. So whenever we design something, we think, how are we going to make sure this is still working in 100 years' time, what we need to do to it. So that's built into all our teaching.
Great. And that leads ideally into the next question, which is, how important are environmental and sustainability issues to people who live, work, and study in Plymouth?
Well, I think generally we have a lot of, we have a strength in the sort of marine subjects. So I might be talking about how we worry about changes in sea level and how that affects the structures we build on the coast. We also work with colleagues in the ecology group, so biologists, who are worried about how species will change. So, or how we can, and also how we can adapt the structures that civil engineers build that can help those species adapt or provide extra habitats. So throughout a lot of other subjects, sustainability is obviously key, but at Plymouth, I think, with our focus on marine and in other subjects, the idea of sustainability is taught throughout all our courses.
Thank you.
Great. Dave, when students come to study with us, they're sometimes thinking ahead to, when they finish studying, what they're going to do afterwards, how their study is going to contribute to their future development. So could you tell us a little bit about the kind of careers that a degree from your faculty, from your school, can lead on to?
Yeah, so my school is, we were sort of engineers with mathematicians, computer scientists. We also have navigators, so people who look after the land side or the ship side of sort of ship operations. So the sort of the navigation side is actually one of the first things that was ever taught in Plymouth many years ago. It used to be a school of navigation, and those students go on to, yes, sort of drive big boats, or and they also deal with the port operations, the land side. So there's careers in port operations as well as sailing these large vessels. Engineers, we have mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, and civil engineers, and there's, as we know, we're entering the fourth industrial revolution. So it's being badged where we look at not just, again, working in your silo, but working with a whole range of disciplines and building digital technologies into that, using big data, all these advanced artificial intelligence techniques to improve the way we design and manage all the infrastructure that supports the way we want to live and the technology. There's a lot of opportunity in those, and if you look at civil engineers, for instance, I know civil engineers go straight into jobs. There's people crying out for civil engineers at the moment, and even during the current crisis, our graduates are still going out into the industry. They're starting under COVID restrictions, but they're being brought on by their companies, employers, to work for them through into the 21st century. We have computer scientists and mathematicians. Mathematicians do a whole range of things. Mathematics is fundamental to finance, to health, to engineering, of course. And so our mathematicians go off and do loads of exciting things. And elsewhere in the faculty, we have these sort of biologists who are well known for their marine biology. We have geographers, geologists who go out and work with, say, local councils or authorities looking at the geology or maintaining the geology of the area. We work with geologists in civil engineering, looking at foundations and understanding where to put buildings, how to manage the natural environment. So as far as my graduates are concerned, they will go and work as civil engineers or coastal engineers, and we have a good record of getting those graduates out into industry, and we have a really strong relationship with our local employers, but also some of the national employers.
That sounds like a really long list of very exciting opportunities for your graduates.
Yes, yeah, I think that is the exciting thing about being able to work in higher education and teach people.
That's great, Dave. Thanks very much. Then our final question. Toby, I can see you're itching to answer it. Question 10. We're there.
Yes, so we've got, to the final question, which is, what is your greatest achievement? This can be personal or professional, up to you.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. My greatest achievement, I think what I enjoy most, and I think what, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, what we enjoy most is seeing the product of our work, our graduates going out and being successful and providing those graduates to society. So we see ourselves in Plymouth as, we serve the sort of southwest of the UK, but also wider through the world. We teach young people the skills necessary to go out and make a difference in the world. And that really is the exciting thing. It keeps us young and keeps us motivated. You'll see how many members of staff turn up at graduation day to clap all our graduates through and see them off into the world. And it doesn't stop there. We hope to keep we keep in touch with our graduates, and we welcome them back. And soon we see in our through our industrial links, we see our graduates employing future students as well.
Great, that's fantastic.
Great, thank you very much, Dave. So that's 10 questions with Dave Simmonds, who's Associate Professor in Coastal Engineering in the School of Engineering, Computing and Mathematics here at the University of Plymouth. Thank you for watching, everybody on YouTube. You'll see there are a number of other videos, 10 question videos, and other videos too, which will give you an idea of Plymouth as a place to live and a place to study. So check those out as well. Thanks again. Thanks, Toby. Thanks, Dave, very much for your time.
Cheers.
Thanks, everybody.